Hi, my name is Amir Mamdani, and I'd like to welcome you all to the River Rundown, a podcast produced by the Harvard Crimson, focusing on the state of Harvard athletics amidst the pandemic. My guest today is NFL tight end Anthony Firkser, who prefers to go by Firk, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you for joining me today, Firk.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk a little bit about kind of maybe what you've been up to in the offseason in the wake of what was a pretty successful season for you guys in the Titans, and kind of just talking through, how things have been with COVID and preparing for the upcoming season.
Yeah, this was kind of my first off season with like contract negotiations. So that was it's stressful but super exciting. I mean, I never thought I'd be in this position, kind of starting out in the league and just kind of how my trajectory ended up. But yeah, so that was kind of how towards the beginning of the off season went. I took some time off like normal, and then spent some time with family and friends.
I'm curious, like, have you been able to go, to the facility? Have you been able to see teammates? How's it kind of been in the off season in terms of kind of pretty unprecedented stuff in terms of trying to get ready for a season?
Yeah, so with all the COVID restrictions are still intact, and our team decided to, or our coaches decided to do virtual for the first half of it. So there aren't too many guys around the facility. A couple guys who live here full time, and then a couple other younger guys just around. So we got a good little group that we're able to go in the facility and just get together, get some chemistry and stuff like that. But for the most part, we're just doing meetings on Zoom and talking through all the offense and meeting the new guys and just getting everyone back up to speed and the plan for going to training camp and all.
And before we kind of go a little more into your time in Tennessee, maybe to kind of circle back, back to kind of the start, in terms of your career at Harvard and collegiately starting to play. You maybe want to tell kind of the listeners about, how you ended up at Harvard and that process of, when you realized Ivy League football might be something you would pursue in high school.
My recruiting process was I was actually looking for basketball and football at the time. I was kind of feeling both out, just using kind of whatever path would be just the best for my future. And I wanted to play big time football. I was getting some smaller basketball offers, like some Ivy League schools. I was looking at Yale and Dartmouth for basketball. But I was trying to see if I could pursue like a bigger time school, whether it was like Rutgers, UConn, Boston College, and football. But those offers never came through, unfortunately, or fortunately. but so after those, I started turning towards Ivy League basketball offers, and actually ended up getting an offer by going to a Harvard football camp. Just by chance, they were reaching out to me, and I was like, "Yeah, this could be a cool opportunity." Didn't play my freshman year. Sophomore year was when I started finally playing. But after seeing a couple guys in my position get to the league, whether it was Kyle Juszczyk, Cam Braid, Tyler Ott was a long snapper, and Ben Broniker I played 3 years with. So it started becoming just maybe a possibility if that would work out. And so kind of after my junior season, I started getting like reached out by some agents, and that's kind of when I started like taking like the serious track and looking and saying, hey, this is something that can actually happen if someone wants to represent me in that next draft and teams are willing to sign me or try me out, like this could definitely be a possibility. And that's kind of when I put kind of all my eggs in that basket and really pushed for that, like my senior season and training that summer and training for the pro day at Harvard.
You've talked about it by talking about, Cam Braid, Ben Broniker, these guys from Harvard who've made careers as tight ends, Kyle Juszczyk, was a fullback, but a tight end in college, right? I know Coach Murphy's talked about this in the past, but what do you think it is about, the tight end program, whether it's the coaching, whether it's just the kind of guys they're recruiting that, obviously when people think of Harvard football, Ryan Fitzpatrick is one of the first people think of, but when you actually look at it numbers wise, it's an incredible kind of pipeline of tight ends to the NFL. Why do you kind of think that has kind of come to be over the past decade, or if you have any thoughts on that?
A lot has to do with it with Murphy and the program he runs, and he's directly coaching the tight ends, and I think he does a lot of the recruiting end for these tight ends, and he finds guys that are as versatile as possible. I mean, that's one thing he stressed to me is that I love that you're a basketball player, and I think that will really help you excel in football and as a tight end, just that type of movement and skills. So I think he definitely looks around for these overall, like all around athletes. And yeah, I think he gets guys that come from good backgrounds that work hard and are dedicated to the team, and just being in that room just with a bunch of guys like that, it's hard to like not want to push yourself and not want to be better because you see all these guys that you can look up to and see how hard they're working, see how dedicated they are, and see like everything they do for the team, and just I think that whole environment that Murphy creates with the team is just, and especially that position, says a lot about how he's able to produce guys into the NFL.
I'm curious from like a psychological perspective, like it sounds like a very difficult kind of thing to do, to be kind of like jetting off all over the country trying to kind of pursue this dream. And I guess I'm just wondering how maybe you feel like that kind of experience has maybe helped you at this point, maybe whether it's staying hungry or whatever the case may be, but just kind of talk a little bit about how that is personally, kind of that experience.
Yeah, it's definitely demoralizing just knowing you're in that situation. And they're like, yeah, they really don't care about you. They're just looking for a body. Like you're at the end of the roster. You'll be cut any day if they sign someone new. So it's just like, I mean, yeah, you really got to have just some thick skin and just really find a way to like prove yourself. So I mean, yeah, I think that has given me the motivation. Like I can kind of see like a swing, like when I got cut by the Chiefs, that like I don't know, this is like my last opportunity. Like I just felt like, hey, I don't got like I don't know, you go to college, you got 4 years to kind of like figure it out. Like you're gonna be there for 4 years. You're not getting cut, you're not getting released. But in the NFL it's so much quicker, like the time span. Like they're moving on to the next guy within the next day pretty much if you're not performing. Like every day is a tryout basically, just because there's just so many people out there, there's so many people doing the job, and they're just looking for the next best guy who's younger, cheaper, and more effective, or whatever. So, but yeah, I think just after being cut those 2 times, just like it shows you that just like nothing's guaranteed, and like if you really want this and you want to pursue it, like you do gotta just like have that drive and motivation to kind of just keep pushing through and just knowing that one opportunity might be the last. And I think just having that mindset after being cut twice, like kind of just really put me on the road to like do what I had to do to like stay on the team and make sure I was doing everything I could to stay with the Titans.
We can talk about the years in between then and now, after, but, you know, when you're entering your first off-season contract negotiation, kind of like we started out talking about, how gratifying is it knowing that like kind of that was where you started, where you were kind of like going into this third team as an undrafted free agent, feeling like this was kind of like maybe your last shot pretty much. And 3 years later, now you're negotiating your first kind of restricted free agent contract. Like what like was that kind of, are those memories kind of flooding back as you're kind of negotiating it and realizing like you've kind of made it to a certain extent?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, like I said, I had no idea that I'd make it this far, and like, yeah, sometimes like it's especially weird when I'm going in there and like meeting rookies, and rookies are coming to me like asking me for like tips and questions and all this stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know, I still like kind of look at myself as like feeling like I'm just making it or just getting in there, like in that same position. So like kind of that's when it really hits me the most is like when I'm trying to like give advice to younger guys about like how you stay in the league and what you need to do. So I mean, yeah, those opportunities are just really kind of just sets me back to like what I went through and just doing whatever it takes to like, make it to this point. Yeah, it's been awesome to be able to like celebrate with family and friends and everyone that's kind of helped me get to this point, whether it's coaches or trainers or just friends that helped me talk me through things and get me through the times where I was down or being cut and move on to the next team. So yeah, I'm excited to see our offense rebuild, and I'm excited for Todd Downing as well, who is my tight ends coach, who got promoted to coordinator now. So he did a great job for us, and he's done it before in the Raiders, and And he's really smart and dedicated and works hard. And yeah, I know he's gonna do whatever he can to put our offense in the best position and give us the best shot this next year.
You know, you touched on Johnny Smith kind of going to the Patriots this in the offseason. And obviously what it'll probably indicate a bigger role for you personally. I know you guys had a lot of two tight end sets last year, but how does that impact, if at all, your mindset going into the upcoming season and what that might mean for your role?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just treating it like I always do. I mean, training as hard as I can and trying to keep expanding my game and pass game and in the run game as well. And yeah, whatever the team asks or whatever fits best for my skill set and how I can just add value to the team and the offense. And um, yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. So.
I can't let you go without asking a little bit. There's a bit of like a Harvard NFL fraternity. It feels like, obviously, with a lot of tight ends and some O linemen, and obviously Fitzpatrick. I'm curious on two fronts. First of all, like, are you like the Harvard guy in the locker room? Like, is that a joke that you get? First of all, and secondly, like, how in touch, if at all, are you with the other guys from the league who played in Cambridge in college?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in the locker room. I mean, my first year there, I was only known as Harvard. He didn't like Vrabel didn't even know my name. I don't think. So I mean, I definitely stuck out as just being called Harvard. So I mean, that's kind of how that went. But but yeah, guys around the league. Yeah, it's always awesome seeing guys that I personally played with. I mean, whether it's Cole Toner, Broniker, Cam Brate, um, it's Tyler Ott. Yeah, I got to see Fitzpatrick as well. We had a little scrimmage with them 2 years ago with the Buccaneers. So yeah, it's cool. Just keeping up with them. I mean, everyone's kind of looking out for each other and congratulating each other if we have a good game. Like trying to reach out to Cam when he was doing well in the playoffs and Super Bowl and everything. So that was awesome to see. And just yeah, it's a cool little just connection that you'll have, and just we've all kind of been through the same path, and especially with Murphy and everything. So, but yeah, so.
I really, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and talk a little bit about your Harvard experience, a little bit about your Tennessee experience. I know it's very cool to kind of have alums, making an impact at the professional level, just because it's so rare, at Harvard and other sports, really. But thank you for taking some time out of your Friday to talk to me.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Yeah, it was great sharing stories, and appreciate you asking questions. And thank you.